Jesus Christ, was that the Brazil national team or the Honduras national team? They looked awful. Welcome back to No HUD, everyone. It is official. We are down to around 8 spots left in the World Cup. And of course, some were able to progress to the quarterfinal while some players officially marked their end of the tournament. But of course, we got to talk about the Real Madrid performances, both the good and the bad. And of course, I'm going to be going over all the round of 16 performances and then update my rankings of how each player has played in the tournament. Now, some of them didn't get some minutes at all, but overall some did, and were able to get some nice action. And overall, I still believe from the bottom of my heart that Real Madrid has been the best performing club in this tournament. So let's just get started. We begin with Canada versus Morocco, where Morocco was able to comfortably win 3-0. And looking at Brahim, overall, I think he had a very, very deceiving game. He ended the game with 2 assists, which is obviously very, very good. It puts his tally up to 4. Obviously, 4 GA in 5 games is pretty nice. But overall, in this performance, he was very underwhelming. He was linking up decently with some of his teammates, but overall, I feel like he was losing the ball a little bit. Wasn't really like playmaking at his best, and it kind of felt like a little bit stat patty. I'm not going to fault him for having these assists, but looking at his assists is not looking at the big picture because I don't think Brahim was one of like the better Morocco players. I think he'll have to perform a lot better against France in the quarterfinal if they want to step up. Overall, I don't think this was a marquee Brahim performance, but again, 2 assists, you can't complain about that. Obviously, 2 assists in the knockouts is nothing to just scorn about. So overall, I mean, it's a very average Brahim performance compared to his standards. Again, kind of like in the round of 16, it's not too bad. You can kind of live with Brahim playing like this if he's playing for Real Madrid. But obviously, with what Morocco needs of him, he will need to step up. But overall, I don't think he can complain about these 2 assists. It's fine. But I just think I think if you just say that he has 2 assists so he played well, I think that's being a little dishonest. I think overall his game was kind of mid, which is very on par for someone like Brahim Diaz. Up next, we got Paraguay versus France, and Tchouaméni and Konate didn't play. They didn't get any minutes whatsoever. I really don't know why Tchouaméni didn't play at all, but that's a discussion for later. So let's talk about the dictator. And despite all the drama that's been going on with Mbappe, overall, this performance was probably his weakest of the World Cup, but I'm not going to blame him too much because he was facing one of the low block teams in the World Cup. So, of course, a lot of people struggle against a very defensive side like Paraguay. But overall, I thought he was like fine. I think the attack was very stagnant. Obviously, he scored the penalty, so you can't really fault him there. So, I mean, if he scored the only goal of the game, I'm not going to fault him too much. But overall, I thought he did a decent job, not just in his overall play, but just kind of keeping his emotions in check because it's very clear that Paraguay was trying to get under his skin, fouling a lot. I don't know how he didn't draw more yellow cards or something like that. But overall, I think Mbappe had a fine game overall. If this is the worst that we're going to see of Mbappe in this World Cup, then once again, he's due to probably being the best player and the top scorer of the tournament. So overall, I think he knocked down his penalty well. He didn't win it. Overall, you could have argued maybe he could have come away with a couple more goals if the Paraguay keeper wasn't on some really, really great timing. But overall, I think this is a very solid performance from Mbappe. I think even among all the rest of the attackers, I think he was better than someone like Dembele. He was better than Olise. Maybe he was not better than Doué or something like that. But I think he still had a man-of-the-match caliber performance. And again, when you score the only goal on a 1-0 victory, even if it's from the penalty spot, you can't really do much. So shout out to Mbappe and shout out to him for being a professional amidst all this drama with the racist senator from Paraguay. Moving on to Brazil versus Norway, where Brazil was shocked and their tournament was ended extremely early at the hands of this Viking. But speaking of the Real Madrid players, Vinicius Jr., overall, for me, I was really happy with how Vinicius played. But one quick critique that I do have of Vinicius is that he should have taken the penalty. I know that he is not a great penalty taker, but he still had to take that responsibility, being the main guy on the team to take it, because especially with how Bruno took it, it wouldn't have been a lot worse. But ignoring the penalty, Vinicius was by far to me the best player for Brazil. He was the only one creating danger. He was being aggressive. He was attacking Rierson. He got past him many, many times. He was creating danger that guys like Cunha, Ryan, Neymar, Endrick, all the other guys that played for Brazil really didn't do whatsoever. I think I'm not looking at this game and saying that Vinicius let us down. I would say that Brazil let Vinicius down with honestly a terrible game from the rest of the Brazilian teammates. Overall, I'm not saying Vinicius had like this absolute masterclass, but I do think Vinicius played his part in Brazil winning. Overall, he created the chances that I will talk about later. They should have scored the penalty. Overall, Brazil should have been in this game. It shouldn't have been a hopeless 2-1 loss. So overall, I think Vinicius was let down. I think he had honestly an excellent tournament. I don't think he had really a particularly bad game, or at least he scored in every game. And then in the 2 knockouts, he was overall pretty good. So overall, just a very unfortunate end for Vinicius Jr. in this tournament, but at least I think he can hold his head up high. Now it's time for him to renew with Real Madrid, hopefully, but just kind of unfortunate that he ended in such a bitter way. And speaking of in a bitter way, we get to this fraud. Endrick, I love Endrick, and I really hope that he gets some playing time, but my God, what the hell was that performance in the second half? He got subbed on and played around 40 minutes. Though he made a non-existent cameo, and of course, he did basically nothing the whole game, outside of missing the one golden chance that they had. Literally, Vinicius Jr. fed to you one of the better passes I've seen in the entire World Cup. A Trivela, obviously, tres dedos pass in between 2 defenders, leaving you one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and you can't even get it. You can't even get the shot on target. That is just completely embarrassing. Like, Endrick, he showed as to why he doesn't get a lot of playing time. Overall, again, in his cameo, outside of that missed chance, he didn't do anything, was just losing the ball, didn't really create any link-ups, didn't have any other chances. Overall, just a very, very underwhelming tournament by Endrick. Again, he didn't get much playing time, but in this, he did get playing time. He had 40 minutes, and he costed Brazil the one golden opportunity that they had in the entire second half. So just a very bitter end to a very bitter tournament for Endrick. We go to England versus Mexico now in what is maybe the game of the tournament. My God, this game was insanely intense. And we talk about Bellingham. Oh my God, I tip my hat, I tip my cap, any hat that I have to Bellingham. This was one of the best performances I've seen in the entire World Cup. Maybe the best. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic, but I don't think I am. Bellingham was absolutely incredible, and I swear to God, never in my entire lifetime compare someone like Vitinha or Pedri to this guy. This guy is so clear of them two. For me, he is maybe even clear of any midfielder in the world right now. That performance was absolutely amazing. The 2 goals that he scored were obviously insanely important. He scored the first and second goal, which basically kind of won England the game, obviously. And those 2 were poacher's finishes, if you wanted to call them. A diving header and then a tap-in after a great link-up with Harry Kane. But even outside of that, Bellingham's performance was absolutely masterful. You could tell after the full-time whistle that man was exhausted. He left absolutely 100% of everything that he had on the pitch, whether it was defending, whether it was ball carrying, trying to control the game, keeping the ball away from Mexico, trying to create some stuff. Overall, like just defensively, he was just amazing. He cleared a ball basically off the line, denied Mexico a goal. Bellingham was absolutely incredible, and they got everything that they needed. England overall played a pretty good game, but if it weren't for Bellingham giving you the contributions that he did, England would have probably lost. And of course, being in the high altitude, being against this unbeaten Mexico team, being in such a intense environment, Bellingham was able to stand up and give you a legendary performance, in my opinion. This was just absolutely incredible. I think of all the Real Madrid performances, this might be number 1, maybe outside of Mbappe versus Sweden, but it's just absolutely incredible. Like one of the more complete performances I've seen, just defensively, attacking-wise, ball carrying, anything that you wanted from Bellingham, he gave it to you, and there was no doubt that Bellingham left absolutely everything on the pitch after this game. It's just absolutely incredible. He obviously deserved man of the match, and it's just This guy's absolutely incredible, and I'm offended that I fell for the lies of some of these fraudulent midfielders being better than this absolute legend. We go from Bellingham's incredible performance to one of the more mediocre games of the entire tournament, Portugal versus Spain, in which Spain beat Portugal 1-0. Speaking on Cucurella real quick, I mean, it's kind of the same song and dance with Cucurella in this tournament. Spain still haven't conceded a single goal. With him being in part of the backline, obviously you have to give him some sort of credit because, I mean, he didn't concede a single goal. I mean, attacking-wise, he wasn't really too impressive. There were times where he kind of looked like Fran Garcia out there, where he was way too forward and ended up giving Portugal a little bit of chances with the space that he left behind. But overall, I mean, he had a very fine game. Obviously, someone like Pedro Neto wasn't going to get past him because Pedro Neto is not that good. But, I mean, there's not really much to speak of about Cucurella. It's just like a very average performance. I'm not going to knock him down, but I'm not going to hype him up too much. I don't look back at this performance and take away any big conclusions. So I guess just shout out to Cucurella for doing his job and still not conceding a single goal. But I mean, he just still if he performs like this in the quarterfinal, semifinal, and final, then I'll give him more credit. But so far, I still haven't seen much to be insanely impressed. And now we get to this clown, Bernardo Silva. Jesus Christ. I mean, this cameo alone might be even worse than what Endrick put out. And this made me very pessimistic about this signing. Like, I guarantee you, like, you'll rue the day. Look back on this video when I tell you that Bernardo Silva is probably going to cost us a game here and then. Where in the season that Real Madrid is going to have, whether it's in La Liga or the Copa del Rey, Bernardo Silva is going to cost us with his terrible play. He made a cameo when we needed, when Portugal needed a goal, and he did absolutely nothing. He gave you like 7 backwards passes when Portugal needed that final chance. He didn't do anything. He didn't control the game or whatever. He didn't create a chance. He missed a header. It's just like this guy just didn't do anything. And again, I just can't believe that this guy is our big Real Madrid signing. And the fact that I have to talk about him because he is a Real Madrid player just makes me insanely embarrassed and insanely disappointed about our summer transfer window. And ending on a kind of anticlimactic note, we got the USA getting absolutely trounced by Belgium 4-1. And we speak on Courtois, who Courtois has had a really weird tournament overall because I don't think he's been that bad, but he really hasn't been like the best goalkeeper. Overall, he did his job. Obviously, they won 4-1, so as long as he didn't concede 4 goals, he was good, and he does good because he only conceded 1. Even the 1 goal that he conceded wasn't really his fault as he got betrayed by his wall, and it took a mean deflection that he couldn't save. But overall, outside of that, he did some nice stuff, acted as a sweeper a couple of times, had some claims, made some really nice saves. Overall, I think he kind of did his job with what you wanted to. I think against Spain, he'll probably have to do a little bit more as long as Spain will actually create and doesn't just play like Mexico or something like that. But overall, I think Courtois had a really solid performance, and again, kind of an anticlimactic way to end off this Real Madrid review. But I mean, Courtois it's kind of the standard Courtois performance, as I always say, that he'll make some nice saves. He looks like one of the best goalkeepers in the world, but he can't keep a clean sheet because he is never allowed to have a decent back line. We are now down to 8 teams left in this World Cup, and we are due for some incredible matchups. It is now confirmed, thanks to one side of the bracket, that a Real Madrid player will be making the finals, so that is very, very exciting. And of course, once again, I do believe that Real Madrid has been one of the best performing teams in the entire tournament. I would even argue it's the best performing team in the entire tournament. Here are my updated rankings. Mbappe stays in the number 1 spot. Vinicius Jr.'s elimination and Tchouaméni's benching bring them down for Bellingham being number 2 after his masterclass. The middle stays the same, and then Endrick's cameo offended me so much that I wanted to put him lower, but of course he was already number 12. Bernardo Silva's cameo offended me so much that I actually did put him lower, so he goes down to number 12. But overall, we shouldn't see many things change. But now in the quarterfinals, we see Real Madrid players going head-to-head to try and clinch their ticket into the semifinals. So as I always say to end these off, good luck to all Real Madrid players, and I hope that one of them is able to take the trophy back to their country. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me guys know what you guys think in the comment section. What do you guys think about these Real Madrid performances? Who's performing the best? Who's performing the worst? Let me know. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe and please like, as any support is truly appreciated. And I'll see you guys in the next one.